So I've been playing Duet Night Abyss recently, and I've been having a wonderful time. As a recent convert to playing Warframe, it's actually a really fun little addition to my gaming library. And usually when I play RPGs, I tend to look at the story and how the RPG is flowing and try and incorporate some of its best ideas into my own work. I'm a tabletop RPG dungeon master, and I really like to take inspiration from some of the video games that I play. So let's talk a little bit about the story and the RPG mechanics of Duet Night Abyss. Let's look at it from a story writer's perspective and a games designer's perspective, but I'm mostly going to be talking about tabletop RPGs here. Today I want to talk about 3 things that I think Duet Night Abyss gets right with its RPG mechanics. We will be discussing spoilers a little bit, so I will throw up a spoiler warning when I'm about to talk to them, so feel free to jump ahead of the video if you don't want to be spoiled at all. Number 1, it's a story about you. One of the things that Duet Night Abyss I feel gets right is that it is very much a story about your main character. The main character is very much intertwined with whatever the plot of Duet Night Abyss actually is. It is very much focused on their own personal journey through this world as they come and meet people, face adversity, and have to overcome challenges. And that's something that a lot of tabletop RPG dungeon masters don't necessarily respect a lot of the time. There's a lot of focus towards world building, proper games design, and a lot of background NPCs, dare I say, DMPCs. But what I think a lot of people sometimes forget is that when you are playing a tabletop RPG campaign, you are very much playing it with the people around the table in mind. It is their story and adventure, and you need to cater to them a little bit. You can't just let them rule the roost, as it were. You do have to have your own input, and you are as well acting as the referee. It's a bit of a weird place to be, really, from a storyteller's perspective. But you can't just ignore them or their own stories. Tabletop RPGs, very much nowadays especially, are cooperative storytelling initiatives. They are about getting a group of people together to weave a story, and your players are playing in the same way that actors are the heroes of the story. It's about them. They are the viewpoint characters. Any of the NPCs that you add should not be taking the limelight completely away from them. If anything, they should be adding to that personal story rather than taking away from it. Thus, all the way through in Duet Night Abyss, you are very much focused on the tale of the main character and what they are trying to achieve throughout the game. They might get caught up on some side quests with some other interesting characters, and it might be a little bit more about their particular struggle, but it's always in service to their main goal. That is the focus, and I think that's to be commended, because it makes you a lot more invested in the world if you know that you are ultimately the focus, and that your character isn't just a vehicle for everything else that's going on. You're not a passive observer, you are actually a character who's established in this world. Number 2, player agency. Player agency in dialogue, I think, could be a little bit of a contentious topic. However, certain RPGs do this a lot better than others. I think it would be unfair to say that Duet Night Abyss's dialogue system greatly impacts the story. I don't think it really does matter in a sense, but it at least allows you to play your character in a variety of different forms. And it does this through the attitude system. When you're playing through the world of Duet Night Abyss, you have different dialogue options that you can use with NPCs, and sometimes these dialogue options will give you some points in a particular attribute, and those attributes are related to your attitude, which is to say how you are perceived by the general NPCs of the world. And while this doesn't particularly affect outcomes of events. It does allow you to sculpt your character in a way that allows you to show off what their personality is and how they are supposed to be acting and going through these same circumstances. And this is where we need to remember that players need to have agency in a tabletop RPG. They need to be able to feel like that their choices have consequences. Sometimes the illusion of a choice is all you really need to allow players to feel like they have proper agency, and that's all that ultimately matters. If you're running a dungeon, for example, you having a left path and a right path can ultimately lead them to the same end result of the dungeon, but at least allows them to take on the task of the dungeon in a way and a pace that they want. You don't need to prepare for every single eventuality, and players don't need agency to be able to explore every single eventuality either. But you do need a certain degree of perceptions of complete freedom. After all, is there really going to be 20 different quest lines going on in a particular city? Are you gonna really plan out the lives and intricate affairs of several thousand people? And are you reasonably going to expect players to be able to walk up to just about anybody in any NPC and have a meaningful conversation and have an entire backstory? Not really, honestly. Player agency is really important when it comes to tabletop RPGs because players need to be able to feel like they actually have some degree of control of the narrative. They need to be able to work within the confines that the Dungeon Master gives them to play their character the way that they want to be played. If they are playing an asshole, then they need to be able to have the scope to be an asshole, and you need to be prepared for that. Similarly, if they are playing somebody who likes to meticulously plan things out, then you should be able to give them the space to actually think things through. There are a number of ways to approach various different circumstances and various different scenarios. And while you don't necessarily need to plan for every eventuality that your players are going to throw at you, honestly, at this point in my career as a Dungeon Master, I feel like that's impossible. But what you need to do is be able to give players the flexibility to play the game that they want to. And also in the same way, you need to rein them in a little bit if they're going to ruin everything for everybody else. But that's almost like another topic entirely. Number 3, giving characters time to breathe. This is the bit where I tell you there's going to be spoilers. You can feel free to skip to the ending on this one. I do apologize. When you're in an RPG and you're in a story, it's very important to allow players and allow readers to connect with a character. If this character is only seen for about one chapter, then it's very unlikely you're going to be interested or particularly heartbroken or, involved when they inevitably kick the bucket or something like that. Just like how Psyche in Duet Night Abyss meets her unfortunate end. One of the things that they do in Duet Night Abyss is that they give you quite a few scenes with Psyche before she inevitably departs from this world, shall we say. It allows you to establish a relationship with her and also allows you to form that emotional connection. Whether it's a particularly powerful emotional connection, I think you could probably debate, but I feel like that you could at least make the argument that the attempt is made. It's interesting as well because Duet Night Abyss then goes and makes this mistake a little bit later on when they try and get you to care about Steve, this unknown soldier that you have really don't care about, who you've only just met. At the end of the day, characters cannot be just one note, and then you can't expect your players to care if they then just suddenly die on you. In order for an NPC to be meaningful, you need to give them time to breathe. You need to give them scenes with those players in order to bond and form emotional connections. You need to let the players talk to them, to let them know them. Let them know their own emotional struggles and their own backstories and get invested in the outcomes of those particular stories. After all, those are outcomes that the players can meaningfully affect, right? At least if you're planning for the players to have agency over the fates of characters and the like, surely they're going to want to work hard so that they ensure that their favorite character gets to live at the end. There you go. Those are my 3 points from Duet Night Abyss that I think you can take away and add to your tabletop RPG games. But what do you think that Duet Night Abyss has done particularly well? Feel free to leave a comment with your suggestion and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. It'll help spread it throughout the algorithm. Also, by the way, the clips you've been watching are from my Twitch streams. We've got the lovely little embers of a community going on over there. And I love seeing new people in chat. So if you want to head on over there and have a yabber, or just chill, you're more than welcome to check me out if you are interested. Anyway, that is all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Cheerio, and best of luck with your games.